Hello, my name is Marc Evans, student number 100266177. This is recording for a multiplayer and social gaming class. The game I've chosen is Farm to City Dynasty. It is available as an app on Facebook as well as mobile. The theme of Farm to City Dynasty, or otherwise just known as Dynasty, is a fantasy of labor game. It is set in a 1930s setting and is a city builder in which the player tries to save his or her family's dynasty by rescuing their family estate that has fallen into disarray. Your parents have died while you're away from home, and it is your job to completely rebuild the estate. Like with most city builder games, the game loop is quite simple. You harvest and produce resources through buildings and farmland and such. You then take those resources and sell them or produce better resources. You then take the currency or newer resources you've gained and build new buildings or hire staff to run those buildings. And typically those buildings produce more resources and the loop just continues over and over again. This loop does have closure to it. Energy refills. All projects in the game have a fixed timer. At no point do you come back and your projects have disappeared. So you can safely leave the game at any time and come back at your own leisure. Aside from the resources you gain from the game to build structures and such, the objects of desire you get vary from experience to level up, gold coins to buy very specific materials, and keys for opening chests. There are plenty of social interactions in this game, as players can visit each other's towns and help out with the progress of their friend's town. There's also gifting and leaderboards, which I'll come to in later. First off, visiting a friend's town is a social interaction. You first have to invite a friend and add them to your list of friends in the game in order for them to access their town and for you to access theirs. There's a huge benefit to doing so as well. You gain resources faster if your friend comes and helps out in your town. You also gain the additional benefit that when your friend helps and clicks on whatever resources are done building in your town, they also get access to those resources, so as well as some benefit to doing so, plus the benefit that you get as well. Resources are all gained by the structures that you build in the game, and the ones that you have staff working in. For example, the farms in the game produce the lowest of resources, vegetables, wheat, and grain. The wheat, for example, can be passed on to the windmill to produce a more complex flour, and then the flour can then be passed on to the food store, which can sell it for silver coins. The silver coins can then be used to purchase additional buildings and other types of building materials. All actions, especially the first time you complete them, give you some kind of reward. Not just the resource from the structure itself, but also gain you experience, which level up your character. Every single time you level up, you also gain a gold coin. Gold coins are used to hire staff and to populate some of the more production-related buildings. They are also used to cut down trees and collect more of the higher-level resources. You can also get other special items like chests and keys, which can open the chests that contain some kind of loot that can reward the player in some way. Many of these top-tier resources can also be purchased with real money. The awarding of these resources impacts the social interactions of the game, mainly due to the gifting feature in the game that I mentioned earlier. Experience can be gifted to the keys and the chests and items you find in them. You can gift them to anyone on your friends, and there's a huge benefit in doing so. You gain additional rewards and can get free rewards that otherwise you wouldn't have had before. You tend to get a lot of these chests and keys and various resources and don't exactly have the ability to use them at the current time, so it's to your benefit to trade them away to your friends, as you'll likely get rewards that you can use. All of this relays into how social status is part of the game. The last major social interaction is the leaderboard that I mentioned earlier. The leaderboard has all kinds of different trackings on it. It's capable of tracking experience, treasure collections gained, as well as silver that's earned by players in the game. Players are then ranked in a ranking system with varying degrees from all-time highs to the previous week, the current week, and even newbies of that current day are ranked. Those higher on the list get a reward for being particularly high on the list, and you can see yourself in standing on each one of these lists compared to everybody else in the world. And thus this concludes my analysis of Farm to City Dynasty from a social gaming perspective. Thank you very much.